Alrighty, hey everybody. It's 11 o'clock here in New York, so we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. I am Deepro. I am on the developer success team here at monday.com. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I'm also joined by my colleague Amit, who is the head of tech partnerships. We work really closely with the app developers who are in our marketplace, and we thought today we'd share some of the amazing things that we're doing with our marketplace. A little bit of housekeeping to begin with. For those of you who have already come with questions, or if any questions come up as we go through the presentation, please use the Q&A section. There's a little Q&A button. If you click on that, you can submit your questions. And if you haven't already done so, please fill out this form at hey.monday.com/apps-webinar, or you can scan this QR code. And since it's 11:01, I think we can go ahead and get started. Amit, what do you think?
Yep, let's go ahead.
All righty. So to begin with, I want to start with a little bit of an agenda, what we're going to talk about today. So overall, our goal today is to walk you through the apps marketplace. Okay, what is the Monday apps marketplace? What can you use it for? And also to give you a couple of tools to understand what you should be thinking about when you install an app in your account. So what apps can do, as well as any considerations that you might have. Alrighty. So in terms of the actual flow, we're going to talk about the value for y'all, and then after that, I'll give you a little bit of a virtual tour about the marketplace. So I'll show you how to install an app, how to use apps, and I'll even walk you through 3 apps that I think are particularly useful across a number of different use cases. Now, overall, we are going to aim for a 30 to maybe 40-minute presentation here. So if there's not enough time to go through all 3 apps, that might be the case. I'll try and show you as much as I can. And then after that, we'll talk about some security considerations, just things to keep in mind when you are installing apps. So with the agenda out of the way, I'd love to go ahead and get started. Amit, I'm going to pass the mic over to you so you can talk through the apps marketplace.
Thanks, Deepro, and thanks everybody for joining us today. For us, it's a major milestone to have this webinar and share with you the app marketplace and a little bit of our vision of it. So we've launched the marketplace, and the concept of the marketplace is to open up Monday to the third-party developers to be able to cater a wider array of needs of you, our customers, and to make those applications easy and simple to use to cater any additional and added value that you as customer needs. So we'll share that, of course, in the demo, but we can move forward. Deepro. So the app marketplace was built on the app framework, which Deepro will discuss it a little bit later, which was tailored around mainly making it easy for developers to develop apps. And once we've got that done, the next step was to create a marketplace where you, our customers, and valuable users will be easy to find a solution that will complement your use cases. And we've launched it in October. We have more than 100 apps in the marketplace. Some are by Monday, some are by external developers, 40K users, as you can see, and quite an impressive number of installs of those apps. So quite a few customers are already using the apps and enjoying the benefits of those apps in their day-to-day operations. A little bit about what we expect and what you can expect from the marketplace. So you know that Monday is a very, very flexible platform that can cater for a lot of needs. So those capabilities will be enhanced by the application that we'll see in the marketplace. We are looking to add, or part of the components that we'll share and you'll see in the demo, are ways to visualize data. So custom dashboards, custom views, dashboard wizards and views are something that we're gonna see more, and you see already in the marketplace quite a few of them to cater specific needs like CRM and others. Again, Deepro will show some of them. The second part is really full solutions. So you can think about them as templates or enhanced templates. So a template that will have also additional functionality that will be developed by someone who is a developer or a subject matter expert that will provide additional value of its own in the marketplace. And last but not least is integrations to third-party, platforms like we already have in the marketplace. So already have, the integration center that you all love and use. So really making this available for other companies that would like to expand, and also companies that already we've curated some integration would like to take over those integration and deepen them. So opening that capability will really enrich the experience and things that you could do with Monday.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amit, for going through all of that. Now we're going to switch over to the demo portion of today's presentation. I'm sure some of you have been waiting to really dig into the apps marketplace, and I'm going to spend some time doing that. So let me go ahead and switch over my screens. Just give me a second. Ooh, that's a preview of a later slide, which is okay. Okay, so you should now be able to see my demo account. Please don't take it too seriously. This is my demo account. But we're going to use this to just go through the apps marketplace, and I want to show you a couple of cool features. So to begin with, we know that Monday is all about flexibility, and we want anyone to be able to level up their workflows with apps. Therefore, we have made the apps marketplace really, really easy to access and available for all of our customers. To access the apps marketplace, go ahead and click on your avatar in the bottom left. And then in the little menu on the top right, you'll see the apps marketplace. You can see how important it is because it's the only icon that has color here. When you click on the apps marketplace icon, you'll see the marketplace itself. So this is where you can browse through the various apps that are available in the marketplace. You can manage your apps here as well and see what apps are installed by clicking on this button right here. So you'll see that I have all of these apps already installed on my account. Let's go back to the apps marketplace. I want to walk you through a few more features. So you can access the apps marketplace from directly in your account. But what's interesting is you can also go to monday.com/marketplace and access the marketplace there as well. It's really, really helpful if you have colleagues who you want to share apps with, but you don't know if they're logged into their Monday account, or you want to just give them a generic link. You can just go to monday.com/marketplace and see all of the data that you're seeing right here as well. You can even install apps from that other page if you want to. All right, so now that we're in the marketplace, if those of you who have multiple screens, you feel free to follow along. When you're in the marketplace, you'll see every single app in these little cards. You'll notice that we have the featured category right here, but every app is categorized. So we have a CRM category, a marketing category, and so on. Essentially, we want to make it really, really easy for folks who are looking for specific apps to be able to really drill in and find that. So you can filter by category by clicking on the left pane right here. For example, if I'm looking for a productivity app, I can click this, and boom, all of the apps that are about productivity will show up here. For each app, you'll see the icon, the name of the app, who the developer is, a little bit of a description, and you'll also see pricing information. So free means the app is free. For those of you who are seeing freemium, that means that the app will have a basic version that is free, but if you want some more advanced functionality, you can pay for it. And then some of these apps also have 10-day trials or 14-day trials or 30-day trials. Essentially, this means that you'll be able to use the app for free for a certain period of time. And then after that, you will need to subscribe. You'll also notice, let me go back to the main page and show you one of our built-in apps. So you'll see that in some of the apps, it says built-in. So HubSpot, for example, this means it's an app by Monday. It was developed by our team, and it is already accessible in your Monday account. So if you see HubSpot, for example, there are quite a few others as well, MailChimp, LinkedIn, Facebook. All of these are integrations and apps that you already have in your Monday account and you can use right now. Alrighty, so that's how you browse the apps marketplace. One more thing I want to mention. Amit earlier said that you have access to a variety of different features in apps. So apps can be reports, they can be integrations, they can be templates, and they can be a mix of all three. And if you are looking for a specific kind of app for a specific context, let's say you have a board and you want to level it up with a board view, you can filter that here with feature type as well. So if I only want to see apps that have board views, I can click this. If I only want to see integrations, if I only want to see kind of full solutions with templates, I can click this as well. But yeah, you can filter by all sorts of information in here as well. And of course, if you want to give us feedback, you can click this button and fill out the form. Okay, now that I've walked you through kind of navigating the apps marketplace at a high level, let's go ahead and click on an app and learn more. So let's click on Unito as an example app. From this page, you'll see more information about the app itself. So Unito specifically is a two-way sync tool. It lets you map data from Monday to another platform and will keep both platforms synced. You can see that when you click on the little arrows here, you go through a little slideshow of the information about the app itself. And if I scroll down a little bit, I'll see a description of the app right here. You can also click on the permissions section to see what data the app needs to access in order to work. And I'll talk a little bit more about permissions later. And you'll also see the app features. So in this case, there's a single board view, but if an app contains board views, widgets, integrations, templates, a mix of everything, you'll see every single feature listed right here. So this is a really great way for you to understand what the app does before installing it and testing it out. In addition to this description and general information about the app, you can also, on the right side, learn more about the developer itself. So in this case, this app was built by Unito, which is a company that builds an integration platform. And you can reach out to their team by clicking on app support or email developer team. This will send you to basically a place where you can ask questions. You can also check out their website by clicking developer website, and you can read their privacy policy at privacy policy. If you do in any case need to report an app, if there's certain behavior that you see a developer practicing that you want to report to our team, you can also click on report this app. Hopefully you won't need to use that, that feature, but of course it is here if you want. We do take security really, really seriously, and we read through every single one of those reports as well. Now, one thing to note is that many of these apps in the marketplace are built by third-party developers. So if you do need any help with the app, let's say the app is not working the way you want it to, or you have some questions about its functionality, you will need to reach out to these third-party, the developer themselves. At the end of the day, our Monday developers didn't develop a lot of these apps, and so there's a lot of functionality that we cannot speak to as a customer experience team, as a support team. I just wanted to give you a heads up about that. Alrighty, so now that let's say we've read through this and we've decided, Unito is the app that I want to install. You'll notice a blue install button right here, and you can go ahead and click that. One thing to note is that only admins can install apps. So if you are not an admin on your account, instead of the install app button, you will see a request button, and that will send a notification to the admin on your account. So you might see the request button, go ahead and click request, and then the admin will get a notification. Okay, so let's go ahead and install the app, and I'll show you what the flow is when you do that. So you click on install, and then you'll see a page that shows all the permissions of that particular app. Each app has access to a set of permissions. Some will have will need access to more data in order to work. Others will need access to less data. So it really depends app per app. Go ahead and read through this. Make sure that it is accessing data that you approve of, and then go ahead and click install when you're ready. And when you hit install, the app will be installed on your account, and you will be able to use it, and anyone on your team will be able to use it and add it to their boards, dashboards, and so on. Once you click install, that button will change to use app. And when you click on this, you'll be able to add the app to a board as well, so that you can immediately start using the app. Instead of going through this add feature flow, I want to show you a couple of other apps instead. So I'm going to click cancel, and I'm going to switch gears a little bit and show you some workflows, essentially. Before I do that, I'm just going to pause for a second and read through the Q&A just to see if there's any questions that I can quickly answer about this. Okay, so Christopher asked a question: if we request permission to admins, will it only show up on my account, or does it install for all users? So Christopher, if an app is installed on an account, then everyone on your account will be able to add it to their boards. That's a great question, something that I can answer very quickly. I think a few people had this question. A few folks are asking about security requirements and due diligence. That is something that I will go through after the demo as well. So stay tuned for some of that information. And another simple question: is the marketplace available on the mobile app? Right now, you can access the marketplace itself by going to monday.com/marketplace. And you can view apps on mobile. However, apps themselves, such as board views or dashboard widgets, are not always supported, are not all supported on the mobile app. So your mileage may vary. Views are not supported on the mobile app, widgets are not supported, but integrations will work as usual if you're in the mobile app. Alrighty, so just wanted to go in and answer a couple of the common questions. Let me go ahead and talk about the demo now. Okay, so before we go into the legal requests, sprint planning, and all of the other workflows that I've got set up on this account, I want to start by just looking at who's in the room. I'm going to go into the main table, and I want to see how many people there are who filled out this form. Wow, there's a lot of people. And I'm going to count the number of people with the filter. Okay, we've got 67 respondents. That's really, really cool to see. And I see that a lot of you have filled out all of the fields. I'm going to use an app called OneView in order to list out the various people who responded in different ways. So let me open up OneView. I've already got it set up. OneView is an app that lets you basically see unified views of the data on your boards. So what it does is it works on these little widget panes. And essentially each widget is a filter that shows you some particular subset of information from your board. So in this case, I have 3 filters set up, one for items where the main emotion is happy. So these are all the people who are happy. These are all the people who are excited, and these are all the people who are curious about what is going to be shared in today's webinar. Awesome. So, so that is a little bit about OneView. I will show you another more in-depth use case in a second, but I also want to go to Word Cloud, which is a built-in app that we have. For those of you who haven't checked out the Word Cloud app already, it's available on all of your accounts. It's one of our built-in apps, and it's really great for taking kind of free text data and showing it as a word cloud. In this case, I am looking at the industry column. So I want to know what industries y'all are coming from. And I can see that the majority are technology, marketing, insurance, and education, as well as a little bit of construction, finance, estate, I'm guessing that's real estate, design, nonprofit, and research. Very cool to see this. I will talk a little bit about how each of these workflows then will fit into these industries as well. Okay, so let's go back and talk about OneView. So I showed you OneView on this who's in the room board, but I want to show you a more real world example. And I'm going to take sprint planning as that example. So for those of you who are project managers or team leads, I'm sure you have to make decisions about when to do certain tasks that are sitting in your backlog, right? For me, particularly, a part of my job is being a project manager. And at the start of every 2-week iteration, we work in sprints, but you don't necessarily have to work on sprints in order for this to be useful. But at the start of every 2 weeks, I decide what our team is going to work on this week. And this is very similar to how an R&D or developer team would be planning their sprints or iterations. Now, I personally find it easy to manage the first 50 to 75% of my team's workload. It's the urgent things. It's the very important high priority tasks that need to be done. But then that last 25% of workload is a little bit more difficult for me to make decisions on, right? Usually there's a couple of maintenance tasks and quick wins that I need to decide between in order to fill that last 25%. And maybe these tasks are important, but not that urgent. And so it's difficult for me to prioritize them against each other. That I think is where OneView really comes in handy. So I'm going to show you a view that I created that helps me decide what to put into my next sprint. So I've gone into OneView and I've set up a number of filters right here. And so each box here is a set of filters that I have defined. So I have my current sprint, which only shows the data that is in the next sprint group. I have high priority, quick wins, and craftsmanship and quality. Essentially, these are different buckets of tasks that I think that I will be deciding between, right? So quick wins are tasks that are high priority and low effort, right? So these are pretty easy to put into the sprint planning and potentially does not take that much work. Craftsmanship and quality, these are bugs and other tasks that are important, but maybe not super urgent. They could be bugs that can be fixed this iteration or next iteration. Maybe they don't have that much user impact, but they're things that we should work on. And then of course, high priority. This is the stuff that we need to get done and it's very important. And based on all of this, these views, I can see how many tasks are in each bucket, and I can move things around into my sprint planning accordingly. So let's go ahead and do that very quickly, so I can show you how OneView works. Let's take 2 tasks from high priority. Let's make error messages in product more useful, and let's move that into our next sprint. So you'll see when I click on the item, it will change the group. And then let me also move a couple of the quick wins. So let's fix the bug for divide by 0. I'm going to move that into my next sprint and write end-to-end test from new menu component. That's a quick win. I'm going to move that to my next sprint. Now what I can do is hit refresh. And I will see all of the items that were first in these filtered groups go into my current sprint. And so now I have all of that information right here, and I can basically step back and see that my sprint is well planned, and I know what tasks I need to work on for the next sprint as well. So I see what's left, and potentially I can then either reprioritize or start thinking about what I want to accomplish in my next sprint. So that is OneView. It is an app that is in our marketplace, and I hope that helps you understand how you can use this in one specific context. Of course, you can take this filters idea and apply it to a ton of different other workflows. This is simply one that I think was particularly useful, especially for those of you in the technology space. Before I move on to the next app, I just want to show you what OneView looks like in the apps marketplace so you know what to look for. It's called OneView. It is in the featured section. And this is the posting in the apps marketplace. So those of you who want to try it out, you can go ahead and do that. All right. So the next app that I want to show you is called OpSign. And it is a really, really cool app, I think. It brings document signing to monday.com. It is an integration app. So it lives in the integration center right here. And there are a couple of different integration recipes that you can add. I'm not going to go into the depths of it. You can check that out in the marketplace, but I do want to just show you what this looks like. So to begin with, let's go ahead and show you the app in the marketplace. It's called OpSign, op.sign, and it's by Pangolin Labs, and it is a free app. What I've done in this particular board is it's a legal requests board. I've set it up so that there are documents that I need to get signed, and there's someone who needs to sign it. And this app will take the document, it will send it to whoever needs to sign it, and it will send them a link that that they can then use to sign the document. And once they've signed it, it will show up on your board right here. So I want to just quickly show you what that looks like in practice. And to do that, I am going to do something that, to be honest, I have never done before on a webinar, and that is share my screen with my phone. So give me 1 second. I'm going to stop sharing and share my entire desktop. We're going to try this out. Alrighty. Okay, so now you should see my entire desktop, and I'm going to try doing this thing where I connect my phone to my computer. And let's see if this works. Alrighty. Thank you for being patient here. Okay, I'm having some technical difficulties. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what happens on the board when I change the status. And I will then also just try and fiddle with this. So let's say I have this particular contract and I have a document. It says sign here. It says, hello, my friend, please sign below. What I can do is I can change the status to a specific status that you configure that triggers this signing flow. And in this case, I'm going to send it to send to sign. When I click on this, that document is getting generated by OpSign and being emailed to this particular contact email. So you'll see that the link changes to say processing. And I should get an email to this particular account. Now, let me go ahead and try connecting one more time. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I'll just show you, I'll just talk you through what I'm doing on my phone. But hopefully I want to get this to work so you can see this app from the user's perspective as well. Hey, there we go. Alrighty, so now you can see my phone. It's very large. Okay, so I'm going to go into my Gmail and I'm going to search for OpSign. And right here, you'll see that I got an email that says Deepak Bhomik has requested your signature on the attached document. And the item name is here. Please approve the contract. It corresponds to the item in Monday. And when I click on review and sign, it will open this up in OpSign. So I can change my name, Deepak Bhomik. And then when I click next, I can review the document and sign it. So right here, I can choose to ask to revise, but in this case, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to sign it. And right here, I can add my signature. I'm going to just draw in my little signature right here. I can make it red ink, although that's, I don't love red ink, but I could if I wanted to. And then I just put it in and I can decide where my signature should go. And then down here, I click the tick and I have signed it. And now when I hit finish, that document gets sent back to OpSign. and will appear on my board. Now, in my practice, this does sometimes take a couple of minutes. So I am going to let that kind of process. What it needs to do is OpSign needs to process it and then send it back to our board. And so while it's processing, let's go ahead and talk about another app, and then we'll circle back to OpSign so I can show you what this document looks like when it is signed. Or actually, I have a signed document right here. I can just show you that one. When I click on signed document, I have a different signed document that's down here. This was signed yesterday when I was testing. And you'll see that the view that I saw for the PDF is here as well. This is a very simple document, of course, but if you had more fields to sign, you could put that in and sign it accordingly. And of course, I can also download the document when it's ready. So yeah, that is OpSign. We'll check back to see this change to signed. But until then, I'm going to go and talk to you about another application that is available. And that is called Funnels. Now, before I do that, I'm going to take a quick pause to check the Q&A and see if there's anything that I can answer quickly. Ooh, there are a lot of questions about OpSign specifically. Some of these, to be honest, I may not be able to answer because this was built by an external party and I'm not an expert at all of their functionality. So there's one person who asked, the signature comes as an email. Can we share it as a link? I believe that you can set this up as well so that instead of sending a document as an email, you share there's an OpSign link that you can share, but you will need to double check that with the app developer. Jean asks, do you need to do any prep on the document before sending it? Jean, you do not. That document, all I needed to do was generate it in OneDrive, export to PDF, and then upload it to the files column. So you don't have to do any kind of prep if you don't want to. OpSign handles all of that. Abel and I think a couple of other folks asked, does it work with multiple signers? I have only tried with one signer right now, but you may be able to add multiple signers if you use the link version. So instead of using a file, you actually upload it to OpSign. But you would need to double check that. A couple of people are also asking, does the recipient need to have OpSign on their phone, or can they sign it without logging in? That is a really good question. And I think that's one of the biggest benefits of OpSign. The recipient doesn't need to register for anything. So when I when I clicked on the link on my phone, that opened up the signing page in my browser. I did not have to download anything. And the only reason my name was there is because I tried this out yesterday. If this was a new signer, all they need to do is add their name and they sign it and they're good to go. So that's a really good question. There are a few other questions. I'm going to go ahead and answer those at the end as well. I just wanted to go in and clear out some of your queries right now. Okay, so last app, we have 5 minutes left. I'm going to just quickly go through this. It is the Funnels app. The Funnels app is, I think, a very, very cool app. It lets you visualize the journey of the different items in your process as they get handed off between statuses. So this is really helpful for CRM workflows. It's also really helpful for any workflow where you have multiple different parties and a task essentially gets handed off between them, because it lets you visualize how many times that handoff process happened, as well as what direction it happens. So let me show you an example. In this case, I have a customer projects board, and these are all projects that I am working on for a specific client or for a variety of different clients. In the statuses, I have a number of different statuses that each describe where in the process the project is. So working on it means I am working on it personally. Accounts review means the account manager or the sales team is reviewing that particular project. Legal review means the legal team is reviewing it, and waiting for client means we're waiting for the client to give us an answer. And in the process of work, I'm just gonna quickly walk you through a week in the life of this project board. Okay, everything goes to working on it. And let's say I hear back, I have a question for the legal team for Charlie Scooters and for Delta Plumbing. And then once the legal team responds, they need to send it to the sales team for these two. But then while all of that's happening, Echo is, I have a question for the client. So I'm gonna go to waiting for client. Here, let's say now the client comes back and I need to send this information to the legal team for Echo, audio, and video. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then while that's happening, Delta and Charlie, they get done. Okay, let's say that these two are done. And then the legal team sends it back to the client. The client sends it back to the legal team. This happens a few more times. I'm just telling the story in real time. Of course, this would happen in the course of weeks, but let's say that this is all happening in the course of 30 seconds, and then finally this gets done. So if my boss comes in and looks at this particular project board, they will see 6 items that are all done. Everything's good to go. What they don't see from just this snapshot is the process that it took us to get there. There were a lot of back and forths, a lot of different people who had to be involved, and it could be interesting to see what the story is there, so that we can maybe lower the number of back and forths or figure out what information do we need to get early on so we don't have to send the data from legal to client to legal to client, right? And so that's where funnels comes in. When I click on funnels, it will give me a view of the entire journey of every single one of these items. So every single level or step that I went through in that little flow, you can see that visualized super easily right here. The thickness is a weight. It depends on, you can set it up, but I set it so that it depends on how much we're charging the client, but you can also just set it up so that the thickness just depends on the number of items. And you'll see that exactly the flow that I went through goes on here. So everything went to working on it. 2 items went into legal review, then accounts review, and then moved to done. However, 1 item went through a really long back and forth before it ended up getting done. So you can use this for any kind of workflow that involves managing a process through multiple steps or through multiple parties. I think this is really, really helpful for pretty much any team. I think any team can get some value out of this particular app, and I would really recommend you checking it out. A few people have some questions in the Q&A and chat about how to customize it. There's a lot of customization that you can do for this particular app. For example, you can weight things by a specific number column. You can set up a workflow. You can say, I don't want to see anything after level 6. And so you can set that up as well. And Funnels actually has 2 board views. So one is this particular one, which shows level by level. And I just want to show you quickly the other one as well. So in the apps marketplace, let's go to Funnels. And I want to show you the second board view. So one shows the history of transitions, and the other one is a sales funnel, and it shows how many items do you have inside your workflow, so it's per status. So this one, for example, it shows the funnel, and then this one shows the transitions, that like Sankey diagram that you can set up as well. So that is Funnels. I think it's really, really cool, and I was excited to share it with you. That comes to the end of my demo portion. I do want to spend 5 minutes going over security just quickly, and then after that, we'll go into questions as well. I see that we have 66 questions in the Q&A, and of course, we won't be able to get through every single one, but I'll try my best, and Amit is here to also share as much as possible. So let's talk about security. We know that installing an app on your account is an important process, right? And because of that, we as a team review every app very, very carefully. Every app goes through a review process with our team, and we work really closely with the app developers during that process to check a number of different criteria, one of which is security. We have a set of security guidelines that every single app in our marketplace has to abide by. This includes signing up for our marketplace service terms, our partner agreement, in other words, and that's an agreement that we want to be very transparent about. And if y'all want to look at it, you can. It is in our knowledge base. You can check it out. We also need to make sure that every single app has a privacy policy and abides by our privacy policy. Every app needs to have a valid support channel, right? So that if you need help, you can get help from them. All communication with the app must be encrypted. Every certificate needs to be valid. We also check how they handle any user data, if they do store any user data. Many of our apps don't store any data, but the ones that do, we check what information they're storing and why. We also make sure that the permissions on those apps, sorry about that, the permissions on those apps are relevant to what they're doing. So is an app asking for permissions that they don't need? If that's the case, then we ask the developer to remove it before we can accept it into our marketplace. And we also check their tracking cookie policies. So these are all of the various things that we track in the security review as well as general review. Actually, I misspoke. These are not all the things that we review. These are some of the things that we review. We also review the way that the app works, make sure that it's easy to use, and a bunch of other kind of product related stuff. If you want more specifics on the exact review process or the things that we check, I would recommend checking out our marketplace partner agreement, which I can share in the chat in a little bit. As a customer, it's important for you to also know what apps are being installed. And it's important for you to have an approach that you define with your team. There are a couple of different considerations that you should have in mind as an admin. The first one is check with your IT team to see if your company has any policies surrounding external apps. Some companies have policies where if you're using a particular SaaS platform, if you're using a particular software platform, you are not allowed to connect them to other platforms unless the security team reviews those. Go ahead and check if your company or team has any of those kinds of policies. Also, make sure you're reviewing the app information really carefully so that you understand what the app does. And when you install the app, that you're reviewing the scopes that it has access to and checking if any of those scopes conflict with any policies that your team has. Finally, I did show you already that report an app button. That's really important. If there's anything that that you see in the app process that you would like to report to our team, you need us to know about, go ahead and press that button and submit a request to our team, and we'll go ahead and take a look as well. At the end of the day, installing an app should be done carefully. And while we can carefully review and vet partners and apps, we cannot certify nor endorse them at the moment. And so any app that you install, you are going into an agreement with that third party, and you need to be aware of that relationship. So I just wanted to give you a heads up about all of that. If you have any questions about the security process or any specific questions, we can also go into that a little bit more in the Q&A section. Now that we have 15 minutes left, one more thing that I wanted to mention is that you can build your own apps as well using the apps framework. We have a bunch of documentation in order to do that. I don't want to spend too much talking about this, but if you want to learn more, just go to developers.monday.com and you can learn how to build apps. All right, thank you so much for joining and staying for this long. I do now want to transition into questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen.